Hello, and welcome back to another star-studded episode of the Exquisite Conversation podcast, sponsored by celebrity publicist Miss Nicole M. Jordan, and sponsored by Exquisite PR firm. And she's not in with us today, so she's out traveling. So I'll be
Awesome.
conducting this
Okay.
interview. Now we have a special guest live all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. You know who needs no introduction. So she's well rounded, and so I'll let her properly introduce herself to the audience, so you guys at home can get familiar with her.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, I'm from Atlanta. I have a true Southern accent. And so working in the film industry here is booming right now. And there's so much going on, so many people to network with, so many studios. I can't even begin. It's a lot, Jacob.
Okay. So everybody want to know the question, who is Bailey MB?
You know what? That's a great question. And every day I wake up, I ask myself the same question. Who am I? What I want to be? Luckily, it's growing, as I mature myself in the industry. I started working here in the film industry about 12 years ago. And cool story, very cool story. So I had a friend that sent me a note and said, hey, there is a film going on near Lake Altoona, which was about 10 minutes from where I lived. And they were like, you should put in and get cast for it. So I did. And it was through ECA, which is one of the largest casting, talents here in Atlanta, with Patrick Ingram, Janelle Barbasol. So the show was called Red Road. It came out on Sundance Channel with Jason Momoa. And so, funniest thing ever, never done it before. So I show up on set, first day, first everything. And this gentleman gets out of his car and starts walking beside me. And this white van comes up and it's already loaded. And I could see there were people on the van that did not look like me. But they were like, hey, we have room for one more, hop on board. Well, little did I know it was a crew van. And if anybody knows anything about the industry, you really don't mix crew and talent, especially background, a lot. And so when I got out of the van, all the other, people were like, oh my gosh, you were on the wrong van. Like, I was so scared. But it turned out the gentleman that invited me on the crew van was the DP, the director of photography, and he also ran the A camera. So I found myself on camera about 4 or 5 times just because I got on the wrong van. But I always think those are good stories, because when you're new to the industry, people can be very welcoming, and so
Right.
I learned real quick to make friends with all the DPs on set.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that kind of was a good introduction for you. So as you went into the film industry, did you ever think about it before somebody told you that you should get into it, or
Not
has it
one
always?
bit.
No?
Nope,
No?
not at all.
Wow.
No, I didn't. I always had a business background. And so I worked a lot in property management and fraud. And I worked in ministry for 20 years. And so the main theme that I've carried throughout, even to this day for me, is that I like solving problems. And if I can't, I know who to go to and how to be resourceful enough to do that. And I always explain it like a big puzzle. If you just dumped a puzzle with like 1,000 pieces on the table, there's something I love about watching those pieces come together in an orderly fashion. And so, film is a lot like that, especially if you work, producer, director on the business side, where it begins as an idea. There's a lot of need for connections. Somebody needs to make the connections be creative with the ideas and network people with other people, such as crew, cast, investors, distribution. There's a lot of moving parts. And so I kind of just knew that I had the skill set, much like running a business. I've run many businesses in my life. And so what was missing in my life was the entertainment part. I do like that. And right. I knew deep down that was probably an area that I could cultivate and be successful at. It was just a matter of meeting the right people and bridging the gap, between the skill set. And, it really wasn't until a year ago that I learned, what a producer was in the industry, and that I do have that skill set. And so, this past year, I really started working full time in the industry.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah. Good for you. So getting your foot in the door, as you got your foot in the door, what would you say became your favorite part of the industry, as far as, being on set, as not as from the actress end, but from like a DP, or from like a director, or like, what is your favorite part and the most exciting?
So for me, every time, I can't think of one show that I've not been on, whether it be a small commercial, whether it be a featured role, that I haven't enjoyed the beauty of the whole thing. I love meeting backgrounders who are doctors, retired lawyers, even published authors, who just want to get in because they're creative and they're artistic. The people who run craft service, that provide catering, the directors, the actresses who can memorize their lines, and wardrobe. I love wardrobe. And set deck. Set deck is probably one of my favorite. When you go onto a set, they have this, they have to create, if it's the 1930s and 1950s, they have to decorate. And the detail that goes into that is overwhelming to me. And for me, it's a gift that I don't have. And so I always appreciate I go on set, whether it's an actress that can, spill out 2 pages worth of dialogue. The cameras, they're very strategic. They know what to look for, the lighting, the electricians, you got grip, like the whole entity of it. To me, I absorb every bit of it, every time, ever since I stepped on set that first day years ago. I take it all in. I take notes. I watch. I love it. I love it all.
Okay. So, I understand you said that you was in ministry for 20 years, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, that's a very, very valid part of your life. So, and you have to have great person skills to be in ministry. Ministry is just a closed off space that you can be in on your own. So you have to interact with people. So with the interacting with people, with you being in ministry, how has that helped you in the film industry?
For me, to me, the main theme is everybody has a weakness. We all have different backgrounds. We all learn in a different way. And so being able to meet a person's need, or being able to be relational, whether they need help, whether they don't, whether you're just filling in the gap, or whether they're broken, they just need uplifting, a word of encouragement. To me, that's across the board in any industry, whether it's, ministry, whether it's in film, business. And so I try, I study a lot. I read books, I have apps. And so I try to meet people, where they are. And in ministry, there are a lot of similarities, because there's a common goal to be better. And, everybody wants a part of a process. and whether there's a void or a blank slate. You know, a lot of people just don't know how to get to the end result. And so if you can meet people where they are and connect them or say, hey, I understand. A lot of people don't really just want answers. They just want somebody that can relate. And so for me, that's what I try to do in the film industry. I don't know, you know, obviously I'm not a pro at this. I'm just beginning, but I'm able to, you know, get online, find people, reach out and connect ones that do. And I think that's, you know, in this world, I think people just want authenticity. Some people just want to make money. That's fine. I may not fit in there, but if they want somebody real that can understand and help, you know, meet a need, whether it's a project get to screen or a person that just needs encouragement, I think there's a lot of similarities there.
Okay, so with working in the film industry and working in ministry, how well do a person have to be mentally and spiritually ready for what comes with the film industry?
I don't know that there's a direct answer, you know, for that, because, you know, people grow at different levels. And, you know, in acting, there's a lot to be said about being raw. You know, I don't promote myself as an actress at all, because I know the investment of time, the investment of study, the investment that it takes for an actress or actor to do what they do. And I don't do that. I've never taken acting classes. You know, everything I do is raw. And I tell you what, though, I did find a book called Awakening the Actor Within by Stephen Foster. And there's a chapter in that book that says, you know, when you take acting classes and you do things like that, you don't want to lose the rawness that you have. And there was one part in the book that really touched me about learning who you are as a person. And you can do this, you know, in any industry. But if you don't know who you are as a person, it's going to be harder to relate to different characters and different roles. And one of the chapters in the book said, think of, you know, 3, 4, 5 movies that have touched you throughout your life and write them down. And what was it about the movie that touched you or made you watch it again and again? And that is how you can learn who you are and what roles are suited for you and who you know, what character you would be good at. For me, I love the Book of Eli. That was one of my favorite. And what I liked about it was the, you know, the theme of faith and justice and overcoming and being victorious in the end, that no matter what happened, that, you know, that intangible, it prevailed. And so when I think about characters, you know, that I would probably be good at, that's what I think about. But, you know, this is an industry that anybody at any level, whether they're experienced or not, can get involved in. I do think that for me, you know, Steve Harvey said a couple of years ago, I was sitting in on one of his shows. He said, if you follow your gifting and your passions, money and success will follow. And so I don't chase money. I don't necessarily chase success, but I do follow my passion, because that gives me the intangible peace, the joy. And that is how I just made a commitment to my life that was more important to me.
Right.
And the good thing is my bills get paid, but
right. So,
you know, but you know, there's a lot of wisdom in just knowing and understanding who you are, what you're passionate about. And I think if you do that, you can really take that into any industry, you know, whether you're a coach, whether you're in banking, you know, whatever you're doing, if you know what you're gifted at and what makes you happy, you know, just money and success will follow, you know?
Right. So, for me, I've had several people to tell me, Listen, Jacob, man, you need to get into doing voiceovers. You definitely got that voice that people would use. It was like a James Earl Jones or somebody like that. So, and I said, interesting. And somebody asked me the other day, they was like, so what movie would you narrate if you had a chance?
Me? Me?
No, they was asking me what
Oh,
movie I
yeah.
would narrate. Yeah, I
What'd
was
you
like,
say?
I would love to narrate The Notebook, the movie The Notebook.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies. Like just everything about it, cause it's like, to me it's one of the most intense romantic movies.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So and I love Rachel and I love Ryan. So what I
Right,
mean.
right.
So they two of my favorite actors. So for me, I think that there's a lot of ways to get money in the film industry, and doing voiceovers is one of them. You know what I mean? And narration is one of them. So, what do you feel about be a typical movie or TV series or web series that you would narrate?
I
What type
don't
of thing?
know. Now listen, Jacob, I'm super Southern. You hear that right in my
I
voice.
know. Yeah, I know.
And
I know.
so I'm afraid of the camera because of that. I mean, I'm that is a voice that's not suited for just anything. And
Listen though.
so so the funniest thing ever is Zach Dippy that created the mob series, The Italians, right? So connected with him. Listen, this guy is brilliant. He speaks 7 languages. He has in multiple languages. And he had this character that he had created off of Tia Leone, Madam Secretary. And so ultimately got cast for a role in his crime mob series called The Italians. And so I was cast as the first female mayor of New York. The very first thing I said to him was, I'm Southern, right? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? This is New York. I mean, this is, bag them, shoot them up, So he said, don't worry, I'm a great director. We'll fix the script. You'll do great. And, just because he said that, it gave me encouragement that I can learn this and do this. So then I binge watched all 6 seasons of Madam Secretary. But so when I think about doing voiceovers, and I have a lot of castings come across my email that are voiceovers, I just don't put in for them, Jacob, because I'm so Southern that I just I probably should get a dialect coach.
Right. So for you, I like, I'm from the country, so I'm from South Carolina. So I kind of grew up watching a lot of different type movies that the average young man my age didn't watch, like a lot of Clint Eastwood movies, a lot of. So with you, and one of my favorite hit TV series was Nashville. So the TV series Nashville.
I never even it.
You never looked at it?
No.
Well, it's great. It's great. And then you have the newer TV series called Yellowstone.
Oh yeah, I love that. Now I always said I would be a great Beth. I could do that role.
Right. And then you have another one called Longmire, which is on now. Is great. So there's some different roles that Southern accent fit. It definitely would. So it's some different roles. You just got to apply for them. That's all.
I will say this: it drives me insane, and I hear people try to do a Southern accent and they can't. It really drives me crazy. Some people can, some people can't. Can make it sound real hillbilly. I probably sound hillbilly, but it is what it is. I just believe in things happening organically and naturally, and I like the business side, and I do see myself fitting in there more than spending a lot of time and hours on learning a different
Okay. So speaking of the business side, or I just want to ask this before we go into the business side. Are you a writer as well?
I do not write.
You do not write. Is that something that you wish to tackle one day or no?
Um, I would probably be a writer. I have ideas, but here's the thing. There are so many talented screenwriters out there. Stories that people come up with are just really unbelievable. And so I let them do their thing.
Okay.
I know my wheelhouse, and not to say that I would never stretch myself or maybe collaborate, or maybe, even as a producer, sometimes we can, bring creative thoughts and ideas into a project and succeed, or, what would, be better or more challenging or a twist turner. So I'm always willing to share ideas, but I'm not a writer. And so I think there's a special place for that. So I just let that be.
Okay. So with you saying that you're not a writer, and just want to um ask a few questions for the writers. I got a few that's contacting me.
Okay.
That's one that wants to get into selling scripts. I've had writers that tell me they have over 150 scripts written. College students that tell me they got over 50 scripts written. So, what would you say on the business side would be the best way for a writer to get into selling scripts?
Study. Everything about the film industry revolves around the script. If it's not written, if the grammar's incorrect, if it's not for screen, if it's a teleplay, a screenplay, that shows who you are as a writer and what you know. And so if you have scripts, you better make sure they're formatted right. You've got the right software, because people who buy scripts or want to pitch them, that's a business in itself. And so most of these companies hire D-readers to get scripts. They don't even make it to a director. They look at certain points in a story. There's got to be a turning point, the summary, the first page, the plots and twists. So if that is what you want to do, you need to study how to write them. There's so much information readily available too. There's writer Facebook groups. There are books about it. Stephen Foster, I think, has a book on screenwriting too. It's all about formatting, because, it's one thing to say you just have a script, but is it one that reflects, the business and what you're doing? Because that's, you want to remain the owner. That's how you, every project is that when you build a cast, when you get investments, when you distribute, before it even goes to film. And so you have to really know the business of it, and what people are looking for when they write.
All right. Okay. So I see a lot of people, they always ask me, because I was like, well, Mr. Jacob, you've been dealing with musicians and songwriters for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the industry that I've been in forever. So, and it was like, I have some scripts written. I was like, so have you had them? Proofread by your college professor? Because a lot of these kids are in like Charlotte Art Institute, Atlanta Art Institute, just whatever performing arts, entertainment college it may be, that's where they're at. So, and a lot of them are interested in getting their work out there. And I know that the film industry is interested in having a new breed of writers out there on the forefront as well. But as you say, it has to be done correctly, and it has to be very professional.
There is a need for content, with streaming, there's so many platforms now. There's definitely for content, but I'm the type of person that I research, who screenwriters are. I'll find the top ones that have won awards at film festivals. And that's a good place to pitch scripts, film festivals. There's a lot of virtual film festivals now. And so you want to, get your name out and network with those who have won awards before and learn from the people that have done it.
Right. Okay, cool. So let's talk about is it Hollywood, Georgia Inc.? Is that the name of it?
Hollywood, Yollywood.
Yeah. So.
You talking about business?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm involved with Grow Georgia Films and Grow Georgia Entertainment via partnership through Miles Neiman. He's the CEO, and he also runs the magazine, the Georgia Hollywood Review, which is circulated here in Atlanta.
That's what I was talking about.
Here in Atlanta and LA. And so also, before I forget, our next Thursday night live event is June 23rd at 7:00 at Studio 135 in Atlanta. And so if you have scripts, if you have, if you're an actor, if you're a musician, these networking events are created for this. It's people at all different levels come out. They get on the red carpet. They put themselves through a live feed. We have panels. Last month, we did a panel for film funding, and we had the best in the industry talk about how to get your movies funded and what are the processes. And so you definitely want to make a point, to get out and get involved in these industry events in Atlanta for sure.
So how did you get involved with the magazine?
Through via Miles, going to his event, and I have some connections, to some actors and directors, and have been able to line up a few of those connections with one of his editors. And so we just kind of work together. He's very knowledgeable and has he knows a lot. And so I was immediately drawn to that part of it, and being able to collaborate has really helped elevate me too and learn more about the business. But I think we just launched a magazine. I think it's May and June's issue. And so it's called The Disruptors. And so you can pick them up, but also the Georgia Hollywood Review has a Facebook page where you can sign up and get an e-subscription for that also. Tons of information. There's sponsorships available. I just can't speak enough about what a good publication it is, to be honest with you.
Okay. That sounds great. So I want to talk about one more other thing. Working with casting directors when there's a actress or an actor that's sliding their foot in the door in the film industry. What should they know about the casting director, and how should they navigate to really understand how valuable that casting director is when on set?
The casting directors are super valuable because, they're like, they hire you to do a job. And so you are your own agent. You brand yourself, you market yourself, and the casting directors, they want dependable people that are going to do what they're going to say. They're going to show up. They're going to look the part. They're not going to ask questions. They're not going to want to steal. They're just, you're a team player. You're a business. You're a professional. And you have to be that and know that about yourself. And so when you cultivate the relationships with these casting directors, they're going to want to call on you because, you're building a trust with them also. But, too, there are other ways that you can promote and brand yourself. First thing you need to do is make a decision. That's what you want to do. Right. And you can get on casting networks. You can get on Actors Access. A lot of it is just asking the right questions, to the right people. And this industry is very saturated right now in Atlanta because there's so many productions. And so told not every role is going to be for you. You've got.
All right.
We're back.
We're back. Sorry about that, audience. And so, so that's pretty, cause I hear a lot of people talk about. I hear people talk about great casting directors all the time, and they be like, "Oh, she is, or he is." Like I'm so glad I met them. Like upon meeting them, I've been in this many films in the last 2-3 years, and so that's why I asked you about the casting directors.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing for me, and because I'm not, I don't promote myself so much as an actress, but I've networked over the past years with every casting agency here in Atlanta. And to the point where if I don't have a role coming up, I can send them a text or an email, say, hey, what do you have this week? And wow. They'll fill you in. And so it really is a tight community. They like to see the same people, the ones they know that are going to be professional. No show, do not no show. Always be, if there's a better role that comes up that pays more, communicate that. Don't just no show. Casting is one of the toughest jobs because some of these productions will cast for like 400 and 500 people, whether it be for a football stadium or, a wrestling show, and they need people. And so there are too many people that I've seen that will call up the day before because something paid $25 more. I do not do that. I'm one of those. If I'm committed to it, I'm going to do it. And I make myself, even though I may take a loss of money in the long run, that casting they'll call me out next week for a better gig just because I didn't bail. And so, like I said, I'm one of those, I have to lay my head down at night. I have to have peace. And so I know that I don't need bad karma in my life. And if I'm going to cancel or no show for 25 extra bucks, then it's going to come back and haunt me at some point. But, there are many ways to get on set and be involved, and just ask who's casting. Are they here today? Rose Locke, she's always on set. She does some of the best, movies and features here. And so Rose Locke, Jamie Lynn Cotrette, there was CL casting, Cotrette casting, Rose Locke casting. And Facebook is a great place to meet these people and know and just get involved and ask the questions and network. I can't say enough, network. It really is who you know, and being a person of your word. That's in everyday life. It really is.
Right. Okay. So upon that, you are a film producer and executive producer as well, correct?
Trying.
So let's talk. That's very interesting, and let's talk about the levels of being both of those, and how do you navigate through the film industry, and get well known for being a film producer and executive producer, because both of those are really high end.
They are, but what people don't understand is producers and executive, we work tirelessly. We have somebody reach out to us that says, hey, we have a project that we want to pitch, and I'm talking anywhere from $100K to $10 million. And so, and these are beginning phases. It can take years for these projects to get funded and to find the right parts and the right fit. It all begins with casting, and is the project that you have, is it already packaged? Packaged meaning you have directors attached, actors attached, film locations, budgets. That can take months to do that. And so in the meantime, you're building your networking, you're making connections with people who may be a good fit, because even though people, not everybody's going to be a good fit, especially if it's a faith-based film or a horror film. It depends on the genre. And then not only that, but then you have investors who are involved. And so what Miles and I do, and many others, is we can package, we can cast, we can monetize tax credits, we can provide tax shelters, we can secure foreign distribution, and in the long term, domestic distribution. So all of that is tireless hours and a lot of connections in different time zones, and you work on weekends, and it's just a matter of digitizing things, reading the script, making sure it's a good project, because the last thing you want to do is try to help somebody that it's not going to be good. And so there's a lot of rejection involved, and which is really hard for me. Especially being, a female, we're emotional. And so I don't handle rejection well, but I'm learning, I'm getting better. I'm getting better at learning that it's just not meant to be a lot of times. And so you just move on to the next. But, for the executive producing side, for me, the biggest challenge is getting the word out to people who aren't necessarily in the film industry, but maybe they have wealth and they have prosperity, knowing that they can get a slice of this pie. We can help secure them and make money. Nobody in this industry wants to lose money,
Right.
And so we have ways that we can do this for people. And so for, finding investors who want to diversify their portfolio, whether they've been in real estate. Films are like real estate. It's property. And so it's the same type of ideas. And so being able to learn about all this, the intricate parts, actor attachments, and, it's a lot of work, Jacob. It really is. It's tireless hours, solving a lot of problems. Or knowing how or who to reach out to, that, hey, let me get so-and-so on the phone. Let's talk about it. Because there's sometimes people know studio availability, or who can help, with casting. And there's a lot of things before you even make it to production. And so for me, coming on, from the camera side, I have learned a total different depth of appreciation. When you have a multi-million-dollar project, do you think I'm going to go on set and complain about the food I eat or what they're saying? I'm not going to. I'm telling you, because these people's lives, their reputation, they're on the line. And they care. There's years of work that can go into it. And so the last thing I'm going to do is complain about what my makeup looked like, or my hair, or wardrobe on camera. I'm not going to do it.
Right. I understand. So I heard you talk about domestic distribution and foreign distribution. And so let's talk a little about the foreign distribution and what are their entails, and how do a person have to work hard to get foreign distribution?
It's cultivating relationships. Foreign distribution are assets, to a project and an investor. And so you can secure those assets. And then once you can secure that, then domestic sales and distribution can be your profit. And so it's that there are many, and I'm literally, Jacob, just learning this over the past few months. There are many ways to reach out to people. there are LinkedIn, there are private sales agents, there are film media groups, there are distributors that you can go to via connections directly, and it's just a matter of meeting the right people that can help.
Right.
That's what you do. You can get online, you get on LinkedIn, you can search film distributors, sales agents. But for me, I just through talking to people in the industry, I'm learning about it.
Right.
Probably not enough to even have this conversation with you.
Right.
I'm learning, and so I'll get on Google. I'll look it up. What is a film distributor? There are so many, and IMDb is a good place, for that too. So if you see a movie you like and you want to see who distributed it, they list all that. They list the distributors. They list the production companies. So that's how I'm learning. You've got United Artists. You've got there's just multiple. You got Lionsgate, MGM, Universal, Amazon Studios, and you have smaller ones too, and then you have digital. It's a lot. So I'm learning a lot by being on IMDb Pro. If I see a movie on TV I like, I'll go and I'll see what were the sales, where did they distribute, who were the distributors, who was the cast, who were the director. I study it all, to be honest with you. I do.
Right. So you're definitely equipped, and like you say, you're definitely remaining. You remain coachable and you remain teachable. So that just helps a lot anyway. So with you living in the greater Atlanta metropolitan area, what is your most memorable moment as far as in the film industry? And when people think of Atlanta, we all want to know, have you sat down and talked to Tyler?
Yeah. I've been down at Tyler Perry Studios for about 10 years off and on, and he's been very good to me. I have never in my life met a more brilliant director. Not only that, he's a good humanitarian, and he knows what he's doing, and he will film 3 and 4 shows at one time. And the amount, I will get cast. I don't care if it's a BG or a feature, just so I can be in that type of environment to watch him, because he knows how to produce product. He puts it out there, and so many stories, so much fun. Some of my best friends I've met working on his shows. I think I've done Have and Have Nots, If Loving You Is Wrong, All the Queen's Men, Bruh, Sisters, a lot. And it's a tight knit community, and a lot of people don't understand that type of go get it at personality. But he's a man that knows exactly what he wants, and I want to be a woman who knows exactly what she wants, and so I absorb every bit I can get. I don't complain about anything. I'll probably work for free if they ask me to down there, because it's just, the food's amazing, the environment, the sets he's created at Fort McPherson. It's just, if you can ever get in and visit, I would just tell anybody to. The sound stage is there, the dream building. He takes care of everyone. He's tough. Don't get me wrong. He's tough, but it's because he's brilliant and he knows what he wants. I appreciate that.
Okay. So, you had a chance to work with Tyler. That's great. And we're going to talk about your contribution to what we call the people that we call the youth.
They call what?
The people that we call our youth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with you being in the film industry, I know that I have some people that hit me up, because they just let out of school as far as college is going home and stuff. So, what can you tell the young men that's coming and women that's coming out of college for the summer? Because a lot of them are trying to find internships. So could you talk about that a little bit?
Well, they are. And to be honest with you, there are people with, degrees and everything that are trying, to get in this industry. Um, I know SCAD has a lot of Savannah School of Art and Design have a lot of internships, summer camps, things like that. I personally don't know, what to say. I do know there that Georgia has a good resource available online, where you can get opportunities through the local unions. But once again, it's really about networking and not only that, but you have to know, like when someone says they want to be a production assistant or intern, well, what area? There are so many different areas on set. Is it wardrobe, set deck, lectures and camera lighting? You really have to know so that you can isolate your skill set.
Okay.
But I do know that it is very hard to get in unless you don't know anybody. So if you don't know anybody, I would get online and go to some of the local resources, Georgia Film Academy, research to, your local film unions, Georgia Film and Entertainment, Georgia Film Commission, Savannah School of Art and Design. They have film programs, summer camps. If you're a minor in entertainment, you definitely want to go through the Georgia Department of Labor. You have to have a certificate. All the unions have to have representative now when there are minors involved on set. And so, my son does that too, and he has his little certificate. You have to provide that so that they can have a representative on set when minors, are filming. Mm-hmm. And it's real simple to do though, but it's very structured. It's just like anything. It's professional environment, and they are working. Minors are working, and they're expected to work. And so if you want your kid to be famous, then you're gonna, it's a job.
Right.
I think people forget that it's a job. It's a professional environment. They're there to put out a good product for film and entertainment, and that's ultimately the goal for all of us is to produce good content for family and TV.
Okay, great. That's good to know. So as we come to a close, what is next for you? Like what do you have coming up?
So I do have the role in the Italians that I'm working directly with the director on that. I may be producing some. He's got a lot of content, so I may be working in that avenue. I have several projects that I'm involved in and trying to seek funding. So if you have the gift of prosperity and you want to figure out how to diversify your portfolio, we can help you do that. We always have good content, faith-based, genre, all different levels. Our connections are out in LA are just amazing. And, one thing I wanted to mention too was, for me, I've been able to watch the community evolve, from people in LA that have transferred, here to Atlanta. And I think for me, sitting back and watching it, I think LA brings so much game here with their, their background. They're rich in history. And I think Georgia being so receptive and teachable, to me, it was just the perfect, collaboration of two industries. And I think that's why so many people from Hollywood and LA, they stay out here for years. They move. I think we have a lot of Southern hospitality, and I think we're very receptive to their professionalism that they bring in the industry. And I respect that. I don't care to reinvent the wheel. I just want to learn from what they have. They've been doing it forever, and they're professionals. But so I am going to be working on that. I did take a role for another film called Carver Cove. That's with Preston Walden with Domain Pictures. He is fire. He puts out projects like clockwork. I'm telling you, they're out of Florida and Tampa. Mm-hmm. Look them up on Facebook. Preston Walden, Domain Pictures. They cast SAG union roles. This week I'll be on Family Feud. I have a commercial. I have an event on Tuesday. My son has graduation Friday. So I just do what I can.
Right. So you said faith-based, right? So I watched I think it's the UP network, a lot of faith-based movies, and I think these brothers, is they the Kendrick brothers? They was he was he was the guy in the movie War Room.
Okay, so that, yeah, and that is, which is, that was really cool about that is that Sherwood Pictures in Albany, Georgia. And so that was an entity, I believe, created from Sherwood Church there. And so, which is one avenue that I've got my wheels on too, about creating a 501c3 with some faith-based projects, because you can, I just love faith-based projects. And so, through those entities, you can give back to programs such as WIFTA, and you can lower the risk to an investor to almost nothing, to where it's all profit. And so, there's space for everybody here in Georgia and, across the world. It's just a matter of networking and finding the right person. Savannah is going to be booming here soon. But yeah, I liked The War Room. I liked Fireproof. I liked all those movies. Flywheel. They're good, wholesome TV. Love it.
Yeah, Courageous, one of my favorites.
Courageous, yeah. What's cool about that is, a lot of churches, they take those programs and they teach them in their married groups, their singles groups, their pastors. And so there's a lot of different things that you can do with content besides just film. You can do books, you can do studies, workbooks, t-shirts.
a lot. So with those faith-based movies, my favorite one though is Facing the Giants.
Facing the Giants. Yeah.
That was how he interacted with the kids, with the faith, and just taught them discipline through the Word of God, and it was an amazing movie.
Jacob, and a lot of movies too. And, I collaborate in helping with this too, is you can take some of the faith-based principles and you can format them in a way to where it's you're still touching the general, audience, where it's not targeted just for faith-based. People have been doing that for years. You take programs like Alcoholics Anonymous. I mean, all of those principles, they're Bible-based teachings, but they're put in a secular format so that they can reach a broader audience. It's, and you can do the same thing. And a lot of people are very skilled at knowing how to do that. And that's what brings the quality film, is you can take these spiritual or faith-based beliefs, and how to formulate them to where they don't come across as so preachy or Bible beating or targeting, but they can truly be film for everyone,
Right. Most definitely. So for people who want to follow you, get in contact with you, maybe do some business with you, where can they reach you at?
So they can reach me on LinkedIn is my business. And so it's Bailey MB. Shoot me a connection. And I don't have a lot of social media. I'm on Facebook. And so they can reach me at also mbbaileyfilms@gmail.com or castingmbbailey@gmail.com as well. And they can always reach out to you, Jacob.
No doubt. You can always reach out to me. I get up with her. So, and I just want to say, I thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
For having me. I was super nervous about it.
I know, because I've been trying to get you on for a minute here.
I know. I was like, but I'm not ready. So, all right. I'm glad I finally submitted.
Yeah. You definitely did a great job. So I definitely appreciate you bringing your wisdom, bringing your knowledge, and just being a awesome person. And tell your son I said congratulations on graduating, and
all right,
and tell him I said congratulations on going to school to further his academic and athletic career. And
I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. So, but thank you for coming on, and you have a blessed one. And
all right,
we'll be in touch. And To the audience, thank y'all for tuning in. Stay safe, stay blessed, and always be encouraged. We out of here.